Hello and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. Tonight is the second episode of our new Vaesen Mythic Britain and Ireland series. You will get a recap shortly on what happened last week. I think everybody's enjoying it so far. I'm enjoying running it. I've been really excited to run it since I heard that the expansion was coming out. So, yes, we're having a lovely time. Links below the video to our YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, or Twitch if you're watching on YouTube. Our social media, our Discord, which you should join and come and chat with us. Lots of friendly people in there, crew from the channel and other viewers who we all have a lovely time chatting about all sorts. And also a link to our Patreon if you want to help support the channel. You can do so on there for various different rewards. Other things that we do on the channel. So this is on a Monday night. On a Wednesday night, we have Simba Room. And then once a month on a weekend, we do a different one-shot. This month is this coming Saturday, the 22nd of October, and it is Cyborg, which is the cyberpunky Morkborg game. So that's going to be very exciting. Yes, thank you. Yeah, going to be lots of fun. And I am playing in it. So that's going to be great. Very, very exciting. Let's do recaps. So if we could bring Inga on first, who plays Constance. Hi, Inga. Tell us about the beginning of last week.
Yeah, so I guess we technically started on the train, but we kind of flashed back to how we all ended up on the train together. And basically, we were all in London and saw a woman kind of approaching a house, and then out of the kind of brickwork of a nearby house, a small toad dressed in clothing appeared and seemed to speak to her and exchange some sort of item with this woman. And this is obviously quite unusual, and we could all see this, which is also quite unusual because we are all, it turns out we all have the sight. We can see these strange toad-like creatures and others. And the woman certainly seems quite surprised to see that we can all obviously see her and what's going on. And she kind of beckons us into the place called Rose House to come and have a bit of a chat about what we have just seen.
Yep, that's great. Let's bring John on, who plays B. Hey, John. Yeah. Run us through the chat.
We were invited in for a cup of tea, and the woman Eleanor and her brother-in-law Rupert basically explained that they are part of a not entirely a society, though not necessarily secret, called the Apollonian Society, and that as we have evidently got this site, then they would like to extend a job offer. And the job offer would include the very nice house that we were in and the very nice butler who was serving us. And all we had to do was go out and investigate some weird goings on in a place called Radcliffe Tower. I can't remember whether I'm cutting into someone else's recap if I go much further. Basically some rich person had wanted to renovate this tower, and the workmen kept turning up dead, and that was not ideal working conditions, and they wanted us to go and investigate.
Yeah, thank you. So let's bring on Justin, who plays Gail Mosling Forsmark.
Hello.
Hey, Justin. So obviously you all agreed that you were going to partake in this particular activity. So tell us a bit about your prep in the house.
Yeah, so we made use of the facilities of the was it Rose House, and which included for some of us taking much needed baths, and for others investigating libraries, finding maps, locating weaponry that can be used to defend oneself, taking an important group photo before our inevitable demise, and drinking tea or alcoholic beverages.
Lovely. And off the back of your preparations, everybody apart from Constance got an advantage, as it's termed in these rules, which basically means that you can roll an extra 2d6 on one of your rolls if it's relevant to the advantage that you've been given. Constance gifted the thing that she found to, I think, Magnus, maybe. And thus,
I think Gail. I think it was.
Was it?
Yeah.
And thus kind of gave away her advantage. Let's bring on Steve, who plays Henry. Hey, Steve. So you set off from Rose House.
Yes. So we got on a train and have a fairly uneventful journey northwards. Mr. Mosling Forsmark, I think, spends most of it interrogating Beatrice about her background and why she was in London, and sort of slowly extracting information, probably whilst taking a whole lot of photographic plates, probably out of the window or whatever. So we pull into Manchester, and there is a coach, a carriage waiting for us to take us to Radcliffe. But yes, just as they were sort of making the way to the carriage, Henry, in the sort of the crisscrossing paths of all of the other the people at the station, just glimpsed this silhouette just for a second or two that seemed to be watching him, and might or might not have been following him. So, a little bit unsettling. Hopefully won't cause problems later on, who can say.
Worth noting as well that in Vaesen, each character has a few little things like a trauma and a dark secret. So there may be things that crop up over the course of the story that are related to those items for the characters. Cool.
So, yes.
Finally, let's bring on Sam, who plays Magnus.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, you depart the train station and arrive in Radcliffe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we got on a carriage. I think it had the young man who took us on the carriage to the Radcliffe Arms, was it? The pub we were staying in, if I remember correctly. Let's make that up entirely.
A little bit.
I've
lost the name now.
The lockkeeper.
The lockkeeper. Yeah.
Oh, well remembered. Yeah, so we were staying in the lockkeeper that had all been paid for and everything. The patron Bill knew vaguely who we were going to be as we arrived, and took everyone upstairs, showed everyone their rooms and everything like that. And then we all came down and had a nice meal and some drinks, which had all been paid for, which is very nice. There was a little bit of conversation that happened around the kind of pub as well. We were asking kind of basically what's been going on at the tower to find out if anyone there knew. We kind of asked Bill a little bit, and actually I think Bill was almost less forthcoming than some of the other patrons were. So we actually kind of basically got the gist that what's the name of the guy who bought the place? Sorry.
James Wilton is the current owner.
James Wilton, of the Wiltons, who basically own the place, and they're not viewed very favorably, and he's not viewed very favorably in the town. I think it's safe to say they've kind of seemed to have perhaps kicked out the Radcliffes at some point in the past, a while ago it seems like, and they've presumably maybe gone into exile or just disappeared. We didn't really get any more information on that. And whatever's happening to the tower now, it seems to be not used for the purpose that most people think it should be, whether it should be a monument or kept as it is or something like that. Seems to be the general, certainly these couple of people we met in the pubs, I think that anyway. So people seem to be not so on their side here, which is very interesting, given that we've kind of come with the perspective perhaps that maybe we should stop this or stop the murdering of workmen who are trying to take down this building. And then everyone here is like, well, we don't want the building taken down anyway. There's something going on there. So a couple of us went and sat out and had a bit of a conversation, more or less to those ends that evening as well, thinking about if something was living there that couldn't be seen or couldn't interact with people very well, it probably would want to defend its home, and wondering about what the relationship was to that and the Radcliffes of the past, perhaps.
Cool. And then the session ended with you going to sleep. And in true Jonny as GM fashion, you wake up in the morning refreshed, and nothing strange has happened overnight.
Damn you.
That we know of yet. The suspicion doesn't end.
Yeah. So you are woken by a knock on the door. Yes.
Are we going to cover XP before?
Oh, sorry. Yes. That's correct. Yes, I should have done this at the end of last session.
Steve, you XP hound.
So the way that it works in this system is that there are questions for experience points, and if you answer yes to a question, you get 1 XP, essentially. So everybody gets 1 XP for the first one, which is, did you participate in the session? Did you confront any Vaesen? We're not going to count the thing that you saw, so that's a no. You also haven't identified a previously unknown one. Were you affected by your dark secret?
How literal does that need to get?
Yeah.
I think definitely, like, I think to say for Constance, definitely influences like her view on things like these situations, and Vaesen generally. But I don't know if it's not in a more kind of specific way, right?
I think it would need to be like a relatively profound sort of effect that it's had on you for it to count.
Cool.
I also don't think you've taken any risks to protect other people. You have learnt things, I would say.
Every
you
day's
also
a
haven't
school
developed. Yeah, you haven't developed anything in the headquarters yet. And does anybody feel they performed an extraordinary action?
Does Hux's bath count?
Yes, exactly.
That was the only thing I could think of. It's been a long time. It might be extraordinary.
That is extraordinary for Hux, isn't it? So I think 2 XP each currently. So basically, once you get 5 XP, you can buy an advance, which means you can increase the value of a skill by 1 step or buy a new talent. So potentially at the end of this session, because we'll do the thing at the end of this one, I think, you might get another 3, because 3 isn't too difficult to come by, and then it may be that you can advance something, but we'll see. Yes, thanks for the reminder, Steve.
It's all right.
You are woken again by a knock at each of your doors from Bill. Breakfast. Whenever you're ready. You hear him walking down the stairs.
Did you say, was this like October time of year? Did you say?
Yes.
So is it like light outside, or is it still dark?
It is just getting light.
Okay.
So you think it's probably about 7-ish, something like that, probably.
Does it seem? What's the weather like out the window?
Dreary.
Okay.
So it's not raining. It's not particularly sort of blustery or anything like that, but it looks a bit grey and overcast.
Okay. Hux will get dressed very quickly and immediately go for a short stroll outside before doing anything else.
Where he'll run into Mosling, who's doing the same thing.
That's good. I'm looking for the tower. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just, seeing if I can see it on the horizon.
If whether you talk or not, Mosling will tell you that he's out for his morning walk, and he'll tell you all about it.
Yeah,
as you experience it together.
Hux just kind of looks at you occasionally, but doesn't say much else.
Well, I take that merely as affirmation that you're enjoying my talk on the roads and road network of this town, and keep going.
I'm not actively trying to avoid you if it's only like 5 or 10 minutes. Jonny, can we see the tower?
How long of a walk are you going for?
I was only thinking like 10 minutes, so.
Then
I think Mosling would be out longer. So probably at some point, Marx just goes, "Oh well, I've really got to get back for my breakfast."
I mean, I think Hux just starts turning around and walking back. I'm not going to say anything. I might grunt.
Can roll me a d6, Sam.
Okay. I haven't got them out yet. I should have thought about that. Yeah. Why is it always the giant weather dice that comes out first? Because it's giant.
What's the weather
One.
like, Sam?
I rolled a 1. And a lightning.
You do not see the tower.
Okay. I head back to the pub for breakfast.
I get myself and Adam dressed and take him downstairs for breakfast.
Yeah, Constance straight down to the breakfast as well. You probably find her there already.
Cool. Yeah, pretty standard breakfast fare: bread, cheese, tea is on offer. There's a small amount of fruit juice. Nice. The bread's not stale. You know, it's quite maybe a day old, but it's not terrible. Reasonably nice. Sam, you muted.
Thank you. Is anyone else staying there overnight, does it look like, this morning?
You haven't seen any. You are the only people down here for breakfast. You didn't hear anybody else last night in any of the other rooms or anything. There are 8 rooms that you've seen, and obviously 5 of you, but you haven't seen anybody coming in and out of any of the other rooms or heard anybody else.
Mm-hmm. While we're eating, then I suppose I'll just say to anyone really. So, who are we meeting?
It's that Inspector fellow, isn't it? Bertram Bonds?
Yes, that's right. I think he's meant to join us at 9 a.m.
Hmm.
Did we know where we were meeting him? I can't
He'll be
remember.
meeting us here.
Oh,
Yeah, Rupert did say that he would meet you here at 9 a.m. Very specific in the description.
Are there any other patrons around for breakfast at all? Just nothing. It's totally empty. No one out
Yep.
about.
It's just you guys and Bill in there at the moment.
Yeah, maybe just ask Bill then. What is Bonds like?
We don't get on great, but he's probably not a bad guy. Just well, you know, personalities can clash, can't they? I suppose that's probably what it is. Doesn't mean either of us is bad or in the wrong. Just bump heads.
I'll be looking around at everyone meaningfully.
He's a man of the law, and you bump heads.
Yeah, but he'd bump heads with a bull, I think.
Sounds like a proper copper then.
I don't always know when to keep my mouth shut when somebody rubs me up the wrong way. Everybody else probably manages to keep on the good side of him by staying quiet.
Is he good at his job?
A few dead builders would say otherwise.
Other than that, though.
Yeah, we don't usually get much trouble.
Not too big a place, though, eh? I don't imagine there's many folks who end up dead like that very often. Can't be that much work for him. normally. Must be stressful.
Yeah, I think Wilton had to get some in from outside.
What sort of time are we at, Jonny? In the morning? Have we still got a bit of a wait for Bonce? Is he already late?
Yeah, you've got probably 7:45. So you've got over an hour if you wanted to do anything else in the meantime.
Are there any other preparations that we think ought to be made before Bonce arrives? Or perhaps any asking around before he gets here? Get our own take.
I mean, actually, I might bring that because I brought a map with me of the area, didn't I? So I might sort of make a bit of room on the table and spread that out and sort of try and locate where we are and where the tower is.
Yep. Pretty much as soon as it's opened, Sam, if Hux is looking at the map, you'll see that you basically went the wrong way to see the tower. The lockkeeper is basically in the middle of the town, so and you just essentially went the opposite direction to where the tower is on your walk. But yes, you can locate it. Do you want to look for the location of anything else as you're looking?
If we're looking at the map, maybe just a general sense of anything else notable in the surroundings. I don't know if there are any other key buildings marked for the town, like church, library, any of that kind of, or anything else notable.
Yeah, there isn't a town library. There you can see the police station, and yes, a church, and obviously the tower location. So you've got all those plotted in your head, I think.
Remind me, is the nearby area wooded or fields on the whole?
Mostly fields surrounding you.
Okay.
Are there any other pubs?
Yeah, there are a couple of other pubs in the town. Yeah.
Any sort of interesting landmarks or sort of quaintly named local features?
The River Irwell passes right by the town. I don't think there's anything, there's no sort of
Mother Shipton's Cave, or
Yeah, nothing, no sort of obvious occult areas or
yeah, that's
anything
me.
like that
That's
around.
more me asking than Henry Bonneville, I guess, because he's still.
You haven't seen your strange fellow again, have you, Mr. Bonneville?
No, thankfully.
Very good. Is this an area you've travelled to before then, Mr. Moslem Forsmark, or?
Mosling's still out on his walk.
Oh, you haven't come back yet.
In the wrong direction.
I mean, wrong direction for the tower. Might be the right direction for Moslem.
Very profound.
Oh,
Are we just never going to see Gail again?
I've got my ticket to the north and I paid for it. I'm gonna just jet. I think like if we're meeting at 9, then I probably would be out until 8:15 or something. So just trying to get around town as much as possible, but then arrive back, I suppose, sometime late in this conversation, and get myself some breakfast.
Good rest of your walk.
Pleasant. It's always good to see a town. Breakfast good?
impressions?
I mean, dreary, unassuming. No. It doesn't seem like a town racked by horrors or plagued by demons or fairies, if that's what you're getting at.
Well, that's good. Help quell whatever little uprising there is nip it in the bud, I suppose. Best thing to do.
Can't think of anything else to do before. Yeah.
Cool. So 1 minute to 9 rolls around, and Bill has left the door slightly ajar to let some fresh air in the morning. And you see a police inspector. The door's sort of ajar but not completely open. So you see this booted leg come through the door and kind of nudge the door open. And a man who is nearing 6 foot. He is, you would say, probably slightly overweight, but also just quite sort of large, like sort of muscled under the surface kind of thing. Steps through the door. He is red-faced. You would say probably drinks a little too much in the evenings, potentially. And he is looking a little harassed. Maybe not literally at present, but just as a general, demeanor. I presume it's you who Rupert sent. Morning, Bill.
Certainly
Bill
is.
doesn't respond audibly. He may nod if you are looking. There may be a small curt nod, but there's certainly no audible response.
Would you like something to drink, perhaps, or eat? I can say, offering a chair.
I will have a seat, thank you. Comes and sits.
Get my notebook out.
Adam, can you go wait for me upstairs in our room, please? I'll be up in a bit.
Probably for the best. Don't want him hearing all the grisly details of these deaths and the like, do we?
I introduce myself.
Pleasure.
I will introduce myself just as Hux.
And likewise as B.
Introduce myself as Sister Constance.
Henry Bonneville. Shake hand.
Inspector Bonds. I'll just explain the situation, shall I? Make sure that you've got it as I would have it told if anything's been lost along the way. Radcliffe Tower, the current owner, James Wilton, having some building work done. We had some, not reports as such, but heard tales from kind of passed on from the builders that there'd been some disruption, maybe a little vandalism. They obviously thought somebody was messing with them, maybe. I popped my head in myself for a couple of hours, stood there with them while they worked, and nothing seemed amiss. Then, well, things got more serious, as you'll have no doubt heard. Sent Price and Parker, 2 of my lads, in for a night. Scope out who was coming and playing silly buggers. didn't expect to have to tell Emma and Jane that their men weren't coming home. Anyway, mentioned it to my old mate, Sir Rupert, and just in passing, conversation. And he said he'd have some people sent up. Not sure exactly why he thinks his society is relevant to this, but, well, we've had no luck, and no offence to you all, but I'd rather you were in there than more of my lads, considering what happened to them.
What did exactly happen to them?
Well, they disappeared, and some bloody marks were left. So we can only presume that somebody's disposed of them and attempted to clean up the mess and not been able to get rid of all the blood.
Price and Parker, were they close friends or just colleagues?
It's a small town, sir, so both, really.
And they didn't have any reason to skip town? No debts or
No, certainly not. No.
unhappy marriages?
Based on the reactions of their wives when I told them what had happened, I don't believe so.
Understandable.
All those who've died. No bodies at all, right?
Yeah, that's... Well, yeah, no bodies.
And
Was
are there any
there-
of the... sorry, you go, John.
Was there any sign anyone had attempted to clean up the blood?
There's certainly... Yes, it looked like somebody had made some effort. There were marks rather than pools, you see.
Right.
As
Okay.
if an attempt had been made. But, well, I've not seen many murder scenes in my life, but I do know that blood is difficult to clean up well. So,
How much blood?
it looked like there had been a large amount, which had been attempted to be removed.
And were there signs of a struggle?
Not as such, but it's in a building that's being taken apart piece by piece, you have to understand. So it looks like there's been a struggle in there every day, I suppose.
Speaking of the builders, are they in the village still? Perhaps we could talk to them about what it was they saw.
Yes, some of them are from out of town and they've just left. But yeah, there are two live here. And give you their names.
Please. If you know where they live, that would be also very helpful.
Yeah, Henry Edwards, Frank Mills. If it's all the same with you, I may attend to some of these things with you, at least in the first instance, to introduce you to these people. It's obviously a bit of a strange time.
And has anyone else been attacked?
Other than the builders and the other officers?
So Price and Parker disappeared, and there was blood left at the scene. Did any of the work? So the other workers have been attacked too? Did you say?
Two of the
mentioned
builders
vandalism.
have gone in the same way.
Right.
And this
But I
happened at-
believe that this is I believe this is something that built up. There were, as I say, reports of strange happenings, and then this seemed to begin happening.
But these are all happening at times that nobody has seen. Nobody's spied anybody doing any sort of vandalism. They've just appeared and there's been something amiss. And these men have gone missing, but somebody's been able to go in and see the bloody marks and come back out again. It's obviously not a constant threat. Is there a dangerous time, or what's the pattern here?
There doesn't seem to be much of one. You are correct in your analysis of the situation there, that nobody seems to have witnessed anything in process. But
were these builders staying overnight as well when they disappeared, or just the police officers?
no, I think I believe one of them was at the beginning of the day and the other was at the end. So times when they were there alone, but not at night per se.
Which room of the house did the murders happen in, or the disappearances, ported attacks?
Well, it's in the tower, the base of
itself,
the tower.
the base of the tower.
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, the builders haven't been in the house at all.
I see.
Apart from us, any other new people around?
Apart from you and the builders, no.
How's Wilton taken all this?
He's unhappy that his plans are being interrupted.
What plans were they? We've heard a bit about it.
He's renovating, I suppose you could say.
And what's that mean?
He's he's been using the tower as hayloft, animal storage. I suppose he's decided that perhaps he'd be better placed actually having a hayloft and animal storage, purpose built.
I'm wondering, because people go missing when something like this has been going on. If it is other folks doing it, well, what do people think of what's being done?
I am aware that there are people in the town who don't like change in general, and also in this specific situation, but it is the man's land, and there is nobody in this town that I know who would murder a builder for the sake of preventing this. You know, James Wilton is a well-off man. He could hire builders repeatedly until the work gets done from out of town that haven't heard about what's going on. This isn't really the way. I can't see that anybody would be doing this thinking it's going to get them anywhere. And I also don't like to think that anybody in this town is capable of such a thing.
You said that you'd mentioned this offhand to your friend, Sir Rupert, who thought a society could help. What's your understanding of what the society does and why they might be able to help? Why we've been sent?
That's all. He once asked me if I could see things that other people might not think were there. He's been a good friend of mine for a long time, and obviously, his title can be helpful to somebody who is acquainted with him. So I don't ask too many questions about what he does, but it seems like my job for the other folk.
What was your answer to his question of whether you see things?
No.
Do you believe others can?
As I say, I don't ask him too many questions about what he does.
What's the general feeling around the town about those others and those sorts of things?
Well, it varies. We're far enough out of the city for some of those old views to still hang on, I think. I'd imagine there are some who are very far that way and some who are further in the mind of science than I am.
Any old views related to the tower?
No, I don't believe so.
What about you've mentioned the old views and science? What of faith?
Oh, there are many here with faith, yes.
Good.
Does Wilton know we're here?
I think that's probably unlikely.
Are you investigating on his behalf or for the sake of your men?
A little of both, I suppose, and the general well-being of the town.
So if this Wilton wants to start work, then how long do you have?
Difficult to say.
I presume you looked around for trails. It is difficult to hide a body. I presume that you looked around for trails or indications that that these poor people, if they were killed, that the bodies were moved or taken somewhere.
Yes, we did an investigation of the tower, the surrounding area, as much of the house as Wilton would grant us access to. He was having some kind of soiree, as he does, but yes, we didn't find anything other than those bloody marks.
That is unusual.
What's unusual is that what's unusual is that this man was throwing a party after 2 men had died.
The world doesn't stop, I suppose. Are we likely to find him cooperative then, or not?
He looks around the group and says, maybe for some of you.
Were there bards in these rooms again? Or was that just back at the house?
What was that, sorry, Inga?
Were there baths in these rooms as well, or was that just back at the house? I can't remember now.
Oh, you've not got baths here.
No. Fair enough.
So I reckon it'll be the three of you making nice with him then.
Well, whatever it takes, whenever the job calls for.
Do you need more time to prepare, or we could head up to the tower now? I can come back. You can give me a time and I'll come back.
Well, it depends. Do we think it would be best to see the builders first, or should we go straight to the tower and check that out?
Depends. Makes sense to go on the way. Would they be open to that? Bonds?
To go to the builders.
Yes, yeah, we can do that.
I'd say them first.
Hmm.
Find out what we're dealing with before we get there.
Yes.
That would be my vote.
All right.
Ready to go when everybody else is.
Let me go make sure the boys settled upstairs. And I'll head off. I will explain to Adam that I'm just like when I'm going hunting. He needs to stay inside and not get into any trouble. He's got toys, got food. If anything goes very wrong, there's a nice man downstairs he can talk to. But if it doesn't go horribly wrong, don't talk to anyone.
Sound advice.
I
Yep,
give you
he
a
takes a
sweet
lot
and
in.
take up to him.
Good. He's a good lad.
Nothing's too far away from each other in this town. It's not terribly big, is it? Like, we don't need to take some sandwiches as a picnic or anything, do we?
I mean, I'm going to take a sandwich anyway, but I'm going to ask for a sandwich to be prepared for me. I mean, whether that happens or not, I don't know.
I also ask if we're not back by lunchtime that, some food is taken up for him.
Yeah, Bill says, oh, yes. Yeah, of course. Yes, no problem. Shall we?
Yep.
He leads you out into the street. The overcast morning shows no sign of shifting. It's kind of a solid blanket of grey, the sky. And you trudge down the muddy street after yesterday's downpour. And you arrive at a home. And the inspector says, "Happy for me to knock?" Bop, 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 bop. And a very tired looking man answers the door and says, "Inspector Henry, these people are deputized and have some particular specialities that may be helpful to my investigation. And, well, they'd like to ask you some questions. Can we come in?" Yeah. He takes you into a room with a table and chairs and takes a seat and points to everyone else to take a seat that wants to.
Long night, Mr. Edwards?
I've not slept well the last few nights.
Bad dreams?
Obviously, you know what's happened. I don't mean to sound callous, but the first night was a lad from out of town. And, well, we just thought he'd gone and wasn't coming back to work, thought he'd down tools and left. Then Sam went and, well,
and then more people that you knew must have been very difficult for you.
Yeah. And, I mean, he wouldn't leave Ruth. So we knew that it wasn't a case of just walking off.
Yes. We're here to ask about the events that preceded the disappearances, especially. We're interested in knowing. We heard that maybe there was something to do with a fire or things moving around. Could you tell us about what happened, where that happened, when that happened? Anything you can remember?
Yeah, I mean, well, it was all in the tower. I can't. Not sure I can recall exact days.
Oh, I wouldn't. I don't trouble yourself with the day. These things. What about the time of day, though? Morning, evening? Was it towards the end of your working day, perhaps?
I think it varied. Justin, can you make an inspiration empathy roll for me, please?
I can give that a go. I've got 4 in empathy, and I've got 3 in inspiration. So together, that makes 7 dice.
I like those odds.
And I rolled 3 successes.
Cool. He goes, wait, you know what? You should go see Ruth. Inspector, take him to see Ruth. Sam, he kept a diary, because of the bump. That'll give you more information than I can remember, I'm sure.
You seem rather shaken up, but just a few things going missing or moving, and obviously it's very understandable that you'd be upset that somebody you know is gone missing, but you seem very shaken up yourself if you're not sleeping about it. Did you see anything directly? Did anything happen to you?
Oh no, has he frozen?
Or frozen?
Oh, it was just
He's
very traumatic.
deep in thought.
Building suspense. Yeah.
If he's not back in 15 seconds, we can all go home. That's the law.
We roll the dice and one of us answers the question instead. There you go. That's some improv roleplay right there.
Well, to the audience at home, I hope you're enjoying this. Perhaps someone in chat could suggest some other questions that we should ask Jonny.
Well, I'm currently kind of trying to keep track
Ideas
of these
to
names.
anyone? Oh,
So
well, I've got more written down. We've got Ruth, we've got Emma and Jane, who are Price and Parker's partners. What? Yeah, yeah.
Emma and Jane, Price and Parker. So Ruth is
Sam's.
Sam. Okay.
And Sam is the second
Bo.
victim.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know the name of the first victim.
No,
Out of
but we know
town.
he was
No,
an
out of town.
Right.
Out of towner. Don't even need to know his name. You know his
Don't
name.
care about him. He's just out of towner.
Rough.
Mm.
Okay.
These small villages, man. That's what it's like.
Okay. Right. And so 4 victims.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Out of towner, Sam, and then Price and Parker.
Mm.
Coppers. Okay.
So we should, after we have finished our discussions here, we can go pop by Ruth on the way to the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's a diary.
There is a diary.
Oh no.
Now, to the audience at home, Johnny's internet is not doing as good as it could be. It's slightly on life support. So until he rejoins us, have we had a good chance to describe our characters in this session? What we look like, what our general demeanor and aspect are. For those, I think we haven't yet got character arts. We kind of just rushed into it, didn't we, today?
Cool.
True.
We have
Describe
Jonny
a bit
back.
of ourselves. Oh, that
Why
was
don't
quick.
we? Oh, we have Jonny. Oh well, audience, you'll have
Hello.
to not have that this time, unless
That
you
was-
spam the chat. Then maybe we can get that.
Oh no, it's all going wrong.
What's
No,
That was
that?
pretty speedy, Johnny. Well done.
Thanks. Yeah, my internet
Yeah.
connection totally
We
died,
were
so I'm now on my
stalling.
phone hotspot.
Woohoo.
That's right.
Okay, I can't remember what the
You just
question.
told us there was a diary.
Constance had asked.
Yeah.
Why do you care? Why
Um,
do you so upset?
Did you see anything?
Yeah, I think he'd asked if he'd seen anything himself.
Mhm.
He says, no, not myself, no. I don't know if anybody had seen anything actually happen at the time. Just, yeah, things moving. Then there was the day of the fire. But then, yeah, then it obviously
For the fire.
escalated.
Were you there for the fire? Were you at risk in danger of harm?
Internet, why must you spoil these
Internet
things?
breaking questioning going on here.
Yeah.
Damn
I
it,
think
Inga.
Johnny's stalling. I think he doesn't want to give us the answers.
He's just disconnecting the internet because we're asking hard questions.
Maybe he's just like, this sorry role-playing game group, if I have to do 1 more hour of this, I'm going to just quit telling tales.
Well, it's a good GM tip. Any tough questions, just pretend your internet's died. I guess it's harder if you're playing in person, but
He's gone offline from Discord again as well, so I suspect something happened with phone or something entirely rather than just a bitrate thing.
Well, thank you, 240 Degrees, for your input on the state of the internet in the house. I'm glad that we're getting real-time updates on this, and it will be resolved shortly. But in the meantime...
Just go knock on his door and complain. Seriously, what's he doing?
Well, do you want to go for it then, Justin? On the what?
Go on,
what's the
describing
evidence
character.
like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Well, yeah.
He's back now.
He's back now. Oh, once again, saved.
Once again,
saved
saved
from that odd. Oh,
Ah.
and he's gone. Oh, and he's back.
Hopefully it stays this time. I don't know what happened there.
Excellent.
I have to shuffle all these cameras around again.
So, what happened with the fire? Does he have any details about the fire?
We were just working, and then one of the lads shouted up, and there was a fire kind of at the end of the tower that was nearest the home. Nobody saw anybody, but it was a decent size. You know, not bonfire size, but bigger than you get in a hearth at home. Yeah.
We understand that the idea of pulling down this tower wasn't terribly popular, but surely a fire is something that would risk collapse or burning down the building anyway. That strikes me as a little odd.
Hang on. You said Sam kept a diary because of the bump?
I think he's gone again.
Oh no, we still got him back.
He's back. We've got you, Johnny. But you are on mute.
The question is, the bump, was that a thing?
Yeah. You said Sam kept a diary because of the bump?
Oh, yeah. He took a tumble on another job and hit his head. And doctor said he should keep a diary in case he forgot things. You know, help his memory recover. So
did he forget things?
I think they did some test on him. Something to see what he could remember from the day and the day before or something, and there seemed to be some bits that Ruth thought they'd forgotten that were, you know, easy things to remember or what have you. So that's why I thought the diary might be helpful to you as an investigative thing.
I think it
Mm.
will be.
Yeah. And this boss, what was his name? Who wanted the place renovated? What?
Wilton.
Yeah, that one. What did you all think of him?
Well, we had to take the jobs really, because whether any of us had any issue with the job itself or not, because we all need the money, but his family's in the history of the town. His family's quite new to it, I suppose you could say, 100 years or so, and there's them who would rather he didn't mess with anything that's been here for some time. Well, I'm off the job now, so I suppose it doesn't matter. Man's a bit of an ass.
Why are you now off the job? Sorry.
Well, I don't want to risk my life for the sake of doing a bit of work. I need the money, but not that badly.
We heard some rumours that perhaps Wilton was trying to not just renovate, but knock the place down. Is there any truth in that at all? What were his day-to-day? What did he tell you the whole plan was for the project?
We were dismantling sections of the wall, so I think there's a good chance of that. Or at least it would be down to the bare bones. There may be something else done with the inside, but
basically it was all coming down.
it certainly seemed that way.
It's been most helpful.
I mean, what do you think has happened then? I mean, Bonte certainly thinks that nobody in the town would do something like this. What do you think's going on?
No idea. If it weren't for the fact that there was a lad from the town and a lad from outside the town, I'd think it was maybe one or the other. Whichever one it was that hadn't been got, but doesn't seem to make any sense to me.
No other theories? Part of God's plan is a test of the Wiltons, or older superstitions?
Well, it's not that much of a test to Wilton, is it? They'll just pay somebody else to do the job. Nothing bad's happening to him. It's us who are bearing the brunt of whatever it is. So if it's God's plan, then that doesn't make no sense either.
Right. Well, anything else that we ought to know?
Not as far as I'm aware. I'd speak to Ruth. I'm sure she'll... Not going to be a nice conversation for her, but she might have forgotten about his diary, and it might be comforting for her in some way, maybe, if he's been, might have been writing nice things in there about her, for all we know.
Well, I suppose we'll go see her next then.
Thank you.
Of course. And Inspector Bont stands and says, "Thank you very much for your time, Henry. Hope you get some sleep tonight." And he heads off towards the door, opens the door, and kind of waits for you all to file out.
Yep. I'm out.
Once Bonce has stood up and kind of moved away, I'll just lean in towards this guy really quickly and just say, anything, no matter how weird it might have seemed, come find us in the pub later. Have a chat, okay? Might help find out what really did this. And I'll just wander out without saying anything else.
Okay.
As soon as we're out with Cremation, he wasn't terribly helpful, really, was he?
Sister Constance, an astute and accurate point.
Thank you.
Most people aren't, are they?
I think if he was so in fear of his life, he might have been a little bit more helpful, but there we have it, I suppose.
Well, as they say, God helps those who help themselves, and that's how he got into this problem, more or less, I suspect.
I can't tell you anything he doesn't know himself.
Well, he was supposed to be there. He seems terribly worked up about it all, refusing to go back, but apparently nothing happened while he was there. I just don't think it makes much sense, really. Or he's not telling us something, which frankly is shameful.
Well,
Quite.
He did tell us about this diary. That might end up being useful.
Well, yes, of course.
How about we hold judgment until we've finished?
Besides, if he really did see something, probably just people will think he's mad if he says it.
Well, let's be off to this Ruth's house.
Yes, that seems entirely sensible. He leads you on down the road to a very similar house to the one that you've just been at. And as he gets to the door, and he says, just let me do the initial talking. It's obviously been a difficult time for her. So.
I'll wait out here if you like. No need to crowd her.
As you will. And he knocks on the door. And a woman who has tear streaks down her face answers the door and says, "Oh, Inspector, how can I help?" And he says, "Well, we just went to see Sam's friend Henry, and he suggested that we come have a chat with you in case there was maybe a little more light that you could shed, something to do with a diary." Oh, of course. Oh, yeah, come in.
We enter.
Sam, where is Hook standing? Are you just staying like where the rest of the group was?
Yeah, I'll probably just hang around outside. I figured they're probably not big houses, and I'm quite a big guy anyway, and I just was like...
She's about to shut the door, and she says, "And you, come on."
Okay.
Closes the door. And she says, "Please make yourselves at home." And leaves you in a room similar to the other house, sort of, like a dining table. And you hear her sort of clattering around a bit in another room.
Can we, if I'm looking around a bit, can I see anywhere if there's like a picture of what looks like a young man who might be Sam anywhere in the room? It's kind of borderline whether there would be, I suppose, if they're not particularly wealthy.
Yeah, I don't think that there would be. But she returns a moment later with a sort of a note and puts it onto the table. Who is going to grab it? Do you think?
My fingers are inching towards it unless anyone else.
I don't think I'm literate, so I probably wouldn't reach for the notebook.
Then I will snatch it up and start pouring through it.
I think Constance might stand over your shoulder and scan as you're reading, flicking through as well.
Yes, I'd certainly be sort of interested in having a
While
look as
they're-
well at some point.
While they're all poring over the diary, I'll just cough slightly awkwardly and then look at Ruth, was it, and just say, sorry for your loss, miss.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know what to do with myself, really.
Time heals all wounds and all that. Might not feel like it now, though.
Well,
So consulting the diary entries for Sam Jones, we have 30th of September. Sunny, slight cloud, low wind. A fine old day at work today. Started removing some interior stonework. My memory must be worse than I thought, as one of my tools completely disappeared. Then we have the 1st of October. Overcast, colder, no wind. Bit strange today. One of the other lads misplaced one of his tools. No issues of memory loss with him, and had not happened before. The next day, peaking sunshine, cold, blustery. A small fire started just before the main house. None of the lads were there at the time. We're starting to think that someone's fooling around. Still got some decent work done. So, and then next day, overcast, some drizzle, no wind, nothing unusual to report, steady day. Next day, sunny, cold, Wilton's having a do tomorrow, so no work on. Interesting. Typical, just as things return to normal, we might have got some bloody work done. We have a few days passing, and then we have on the 7th, so that's 3 days later. Damp, overcast, things feel different today. Not like the start or end of last week. Midweek last week felt like someone was here making a fool of us. Today felt like something was here watching. Next day, rain, cold, biting wind. I don't want to carry on with this job anymore. I'll talk to Ruth after work tomorrow and may not go in Thursday if I can find other work. There's the entries I've got.
and that's where it stops. And before that was nothing of note. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonny, looking around the place, are there any indications of them being of things that would like speak to the sort of more the old ways, sort of more like paganistic type, well, whatever the correct term would be for Vaesen stuff, but something that's more of the old ways, or any religious church paraphernalia, anything?
There is. You can see a Bible and you can see a crucifix.
Okay.
And you don't see any pentagrams or sage or anything that would imply anything other than good God-fearing people as far as Constance is concerned.
Good stuff. What did your husband, these passages here about feeling like somebody was watching, did your husband discuss those with you at all? Was that news to you?
No, and had not read that until just now. I guess he was going to talk to me about it that night that he didn't come back.
Did he often feel that? Did he, or any other times, did he feel like that? Or that's new then? This feeling of somebody being over him.
Yeah, he's not said anything like that before.
Did you read the diary out loud when you read it out loud? Then, by the way,
I will have read it and then maybe like taken some important passages and kind of prodded a finger at them and passed it to Bonneville. But I don't think.
I will ask Bonce then. Anyone else? Has anyone else mentioned or you heard account of anything like that? Being watched or feeling like someone else is there in tower?
I mean, they've said what they've said about the things that happened, and I'm not sure if anybody specifically told me they felt like they were being watched or somebody was there. The things that they said happened implied somebody was there, I suppose, but maybe it's worth me double checking.
Did you say you handed the book off to Bonneville, Justin?
Yeah, I'll have kind of yes. Why not?
I lean in close to Bonneville, and maybe whisper, see if he says anything earlier about if he says he sees anything. Strange animals.
Do I find anything like that in the, or is it does what? Do we find anything like that in it?
Well, if I
You're right. You've got it.
Yeah. No, there doesn't seem to be anything to that effect.
Okay.
Which I suppose only goes to show that there could have been something there that nobody's seen. Like it does, doesn't necessarily give you any information apart from to say that it doesn't. Like if he
we don't find anything, is what.
Yeah. So if that's because he doesn't, then the fact that he doesn't means that there could have been something there doing something that he didn't see.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad someone else is following, because.
But it also doesn't mean that is the case, because. Yeah.
I was wondering if him being aware of being watched and maybe the others not saying it is maybe the bump in the noggin made him. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Didn't matter.
Or did it?
I'm presuming that it looks like there are 5 days of work in a week. So I'm presuming the 30th of September was a Monday. And
Yes.
It's like 1 full week of work and then a weekend.
Yeah, and they may also have been working the Saturday, but he was having a do, so they weren't.
Right.
I think Constance will, probably not so much for Ruth, but the others, if you're paying any attention, will see her really physically soften a lot in her demeanor, and just generally maybe put a hand on Ruth's hand and say, I know this has been very, very difficult. You're not the only person who's experienced loss, and it seems as though your husband has faced some true evils in the world. I know that the church can really help with loss like this and pain like yours. I see that you're a good, God-fearing household. Take comfort in the church. They can help you.
Thank you for your kind words. I will. Thank you.
And then she's back, resting bitch face again.
Incredible.
I'm sorry, I've been very rude. Can I offer you a tea? Anything?
I don't think we'll be staying long enough for that. If there's nothing he told you that you haven't told already, the good inspector, that was especially unusual in that last week that you could tell to us, then I think we know we should not bother you too much longer. I say, looking around at the rest of them.
Yes, I'll close the diary and put it down again.
Steve, you did, while flicking through, find a very nice thing that he'd written about Ruth. on one of the pages, sort of a couple of weeks prior to the strange things happening. Just about a weekend day that they'd had, a nice walk they'd been on, and he was just very pleasant about her in it.
Yeah, no, I don't know whether to. Perhaps I will leave. I will leave the diary open at that page. There we go.
Thank you for trying to find out what's happened. Some of my friends say that I'm silly, but I haven't lost hope that he's still there somewhere.
If he is, we'll find him. All will come to light.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bont scrapes his chair back in sort of disrupting the silence. And right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Ruth. And yes, just get in touch if there's anything else, and I'll do the same. We better be off. He gets up and heads to the door, opens the door.
Yes, sort of head outside, away from perhaps the oppressive atmosphere in there.
Before we leave, I just want to ask Ruth. Ruth, did Sal have any aches? Did he have any joint pains or?
Well, I mean,
Builder,
no more than a normal builder. I don't think. It's hard work that they do. But no, why do you ask?
He just seems very occupied with the weather. Anyway, probably nothing.
It was part of his memory technique, I think. Helped him to recall the day. If he could have something to center on, it would help him. Yeah, I think that's all it is.
Thank you.
So Jonny, just before we leave, actually, the diary entries, did they start from before the tower work had begun?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So we could. It wouldn't be unreasonable to assume that the bump to his head from before was not related to the tower job. It was from a previous job.
Yes. Yeah. This goes back sort of like 3 months, and the tower work was sort of a week before that bit.
Oh, that poor woman. As after we're out, not while we're still in her room.
Still sitting at her table.
Bonds, would you mind leading us to the tower?
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yes, let's go. And this walk is longer than the others that you have taken today, sort of 10 to 15 minutes. And you kind of come out of the sort of streets. You're still on a road, and it kind of opens out in front of you, and then you can clearly see ahead the manor house and the tower, what remains of it. In fact, let's see how technology likes me now.
This could be a risky play.
How you like me now, technology? How you like me now?
Let's try. I think it's working. There we go.
That's nice.
So yes, this is basically what you happen across. So a farmhand sort of dealing with some animals, and what you presume from the way that they are dressed as the farmhand's children rather than James Wilton's children. From what you've heard about him, you would imagine that they are not dressed in appropriate attire to be James Wilton's children. And as you wander up the path, you see a very well-dressed man appear from out of the manor house. And he says, "Who the bloody hell are you?"
Could I, seeing we're near the house, have veered off to the farmhand instead of seeing Wilton? If that's not too awkward.
Yeah, you could have sort of stopped there to, that's fine. What are you doing on my property? If you're from the papers again, I shall call the Oh. It's you.
I introduced myself and explained that we're from the Apollonian Society and we're here to supplement the police investigations.
Well, this inspector's men were of no use. Do you think you'll fare much better?
Well, they wouldn't have brought us in if they didn't expect results.
He kind of takes a moment to look at each of you and goes, "What skills exactly are you bringing to the table?"
We have our inspector, Mr. Bonneville, who is well read on many cases of difficult and challenging natures. Sister Constance, who is a truly insightful mind, who's capable of deducing all kinds of things and also reminding us of the true virtues and faults of any case. We have our man Hux, who is good at lifting and moving things. And B. We have B.
My God.
Who is got a wily eye. Like Mosling is really upset that he still doesn't know B's surname, and so it's just completely flummoxed at that point.
I'm a hunter by trade, sir. Just in case it's a wild animal attack. Tracker, trapper, that sort of thing.
That's one of the most sensible ideas anybody's had about this whole affair. Very well, just don't get in the way of the workers. And I'm ever so grateful, obviously.
Doubt.
Who are the workers you have in at the moment? I understand some of the workers from the town here are no longer on the job.
Oh no, no builders, just the farm hands.
So there are no builders in at all at the moment then?
No, and because apparently this is a crime scene, I've had to have many of the animals that were in there moved. It's incredibly inconvenient.
What a damned inconvenience. Well, let's see if we can get this fixed quickly then.
So, the farmhands never had anything strange happen to them.
Well, not, they're the type of people who think they see ghosts in the fireplace of an evening. So, if they have, I certainly haven't paid any attention. But nothing has happened akin to what is happening now, or has happened recently.
What are some of these fanciful theories that you don't like the sound of?
Well, just supernatural goings on, I suppose. Seems nonsense.
Nonsense. How long ago has it been since the first set of deaths? How much time has passed, roughly?
Are you asking in character or
Just
out of character?
if I
Or,
don't
yeah,
know,
what's-
if I don't know
what's-
already, then I'll ask.
Yeah. What's the current date? Because we have from the diaries that.
Yeah. What's the current date? I suppose. Yeah, that's a.
Yeah, so that was roughly a week ago.
In which case, I want to say to Wilton that I understand some congratulations in order. Was it a birthday recently?
I'm sorry.
I just understood you'd had a celebration here just about a week ago.
Oh, I'm afraid I'm terribly social, and I just enjoy having people hosting. No particular purpose or reason.
People from town?
There are not many people in this town who are my type of people, I'm afraid.
Yes. Well, we've had a look at the people in town, and I can understand why you'd say that, sir.
Have you had any threats to yourself, or just strange things happening? Anything directed towards you?
No, on the very small occasions that I've had to pass through the town, I've had comments under the breath and such like, but certainly no threats of violence or similar. He turns back to Gale and says, What did you say your name was?
Mosling Forsmark. I offer my hand, and I'm a travel writer. Kind of like lift my my notepad and my briefcase like heaving full of books.
Interesting. A good name.
One of the best in South Derby.
Have you an interest in social gatherings, Mr. Mosling Forsmark?
I am dreadfully dull, I'm afraid, but I have been known to enjoy a glass of port on occasion.
Well, perhaps next time I am having an event, I shall look you up and send you an invite.
It's very kind. I'll produce a card. Why not? I have a card. Why the hell not?
Ah, very good. Well, I'm afraid I must be getting on, but do ring the bell if you need anything. Inspector, you know where the tower is. And if nobody says anything for sort of a second, he turns and heads off towards the house.
Well, he also wasn't terribly helpful, was he?
I don't know. I might get a party out of it. Gonna just start strolling off towards the tower.
Do I manage to pin down any farmhands, or are they all busy doing things and unbotherable?
If you walked alongside one, you could be chatting to them. They certainly, if you try to stop them, they would sort of look concerned at Wilton and kind of continue on. They certainly didn't want to be seen to be hanging around.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I think I might first just ask then. You've been working here long?
2 years?
Not long at all.
He's relatively young. You think he's probably 19, this guy that you're talking
Okay,
to.
cool. Do you know who was here before? Working the land?
Well, there's a few here now. My father works here, and yeah, there's a few from the town.
What do you think of your old master over there? I say fairly quietly, so it's not obvious I'm saying it out loud.
Oh, he's a lovely man.
I laugh out loud. And seen anything strange, if you know what I mean? Not one to judge.
I was the first one in there the morning after Sam. I didn't see nothing but the bloodstains, though.
No idea what it could be. Stories going around back home or whatever.
No, there's a woman in town that well, most of my friends just call her the old witch. To be honest, I don't actually know her real name, but if you're looking for information on strange things, then she might be a good bet.
Thanks.
Room full of old books, plants. Sometimes if Doctor can't fix people, they call her. Don't know what she does. Don't think the church like her.
No surprise. And what did you and your family think of what good master he was doing with the building then? Heard they were renovating.
Yeah, well, we'd obviously prefer that he wasn't doing what he was doing, but it's his, and we've got our lot and he's got his, so it's not for us.
Thanks for your time anyway. I'll let you go on. And I'll just stroll and catch up with the rest. As I catch up, is Bont still with us?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, cool.
We were heading into the tower then, were we? To go have a look for ourselves.
So yeah, Jonny, could you describe the tower a bit? Like from the picture, it seemed like it maybe had another floor above it, but how much of it is left? Is it one floor, two floors, no floors?
Yeah.
No ceiling.
So the top was being used as a hayloft. So you can tell if you go inside it that there were originally sort of multiple kind of rooms in the top, but actually some of the top has crumbled now. So if it's being used as a hayloft, there must be at least one room up there that's completely intact. And there are stairs up. Whether or not you want to go up when you've seen that the ceiling is crumbling and you know that some of it is being taken apart is
Sure.
You're not sure how you would feel about that. The downstairs, again, it's sort of it's a stone floor in here, and the section that has crumbled is kind of the whole way down. So there's some light coming in from over there, and that area, the floor also is damaged. So there's sort of a dirt area there where like stones have kind of come up, and the downstairs is all basically one area, and it's been sort of sectioned out, presumably for animals that were being kept in here, but it's just sort of, it's not sturdy, and it's not rooms, it's just sort of bars, wooden sort of areas that are set up for separating animals out. But there are none in there now. They've all been removed and moved elsewhere. And if you look around, you can also see the sort of blood marks still on the floor. So they're sort of maybe sort of half a meter diameter. Irregular, but that kind of size. So a reasonable size. It's certainly not like a drop of blood on the floor. It's like quite a big area. And it does, the edges are relatively well pronounced, but the areas in the middle are sort of like patchy, as if they've been attempted to be mopped up or cleaned up in some way.
Is this where everyone, or is all the blood here? Presumably where all of them were attacked. I kind of asked Bonds.
Yes, you'll see there are 4 areas. They're in different places, but he kind of points them all out. So that's the out of town builder, Sam, and my 2 lads, we presume.
And the bloodstains for the 2 policemen, are they in the same place? Are they paired? Are they together, or are they?
They are not.
So either they were attacked at different times, or I don't know. Yes, I mean, if we're in there, Henry will sort of start to look around and investigate and sort of try and determine, whether they tried to clean them up, or what the disturbances were. What might have happened, essentially.
Okay.
I will be doing likewise.
There are... So make me... which role do I mean? Investigation. Yeah. Everyone can, because you'll all be looking around, presumably. And if you tell me sort of what you're looking for, or what sort of areas you're looking in, then I can tailor responses.
So I get 1 success, and I think also looking at the blood marks, trying to find other blood marks, any form of, basically trying to figure out what's going on.
Oh, also, don't forget, if any of you have an item that is relevant to your role. And there you go. And if you want it, I'm not suggesting that you have to, because this isn't necessarily a pivotal role, but don't forget also that you have your advantages to spend at some point in the mystery.
I'm going to take some photos of the crime scene. Can I get my +2 investigation dice from my camera?
Yeah.
In which case, I get 3 successes.
It's not a Polaroid, though, is it? So you'll have to come back in.
Maybe the act of framing a picture, Mr. Bonneville.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Think carefully about something.
I suppose you have the light as well. That might help. You see.
I wouldn't expect you to understand, Mr. Bonneville.
No,
you've never really been one who struck me as someone who really looks at you get focused in on the details sometimes, Mr. Bonneville. Sometimes I feel.
Well, yes, as I will do with this magnifying glass. That
that's exactly right.
Day.
Sometimes you take a broader view of the whole situation, put it all in a frame. Never mind.
Amazing.
Go on, John. You can.
I was going to say, would you count this rundown tower as wilderness?
No.
Then my item does nothing, but it's fine.
So I ended up rolling 5 for logic, +3 for investigation, +2 for the magnifying glass. Actually, the magnifying glass wasn't
That's
much
a lot.
use because I had 2 successes before I tried rolling the extra dice. So, but yeah, 2 successes.
Cool. And Justin got 3.
It's not a competition.
Anybody else succeed?
I was going to go up and have a look at the hayloft, if that's okay. Just
Yep.
and
Yeah.
I
Still make me a roll.
only rolled 3 dice, but got 2 successes, so that's all right.
Wow, impressive.
This is a smart team.
Okay, so Sam, yeah, Magnus goes upstairs and you go into the first section of the hayloft, which is a complete section, which has a door at the other side of it. If you open that door, you will see the next room is also a complete section. And through that door is essentially a drop. So that final and it from the space, you think that this section would take you essentially to the other end. So it looks like it is this whole section is gone, and but those 2 are still complete. You do not oh, actually you do, because you rolled really well. There are a couple of drops of blood up here.
Okay.
Not a pool, a couple of drops of blood.
Okay. It's safe to say I'm spending a bit of time looking at that while the other folks are getting the results of their rolls, I suppose. We can come back to that.
John, Stephen, Justin, what are you looking for and at?
I'll let Steve go first.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll be looking at the pools specifically. I'm interested to see whether there's any sort of disturbance away from them. You know, you don't just get a pool of blood on one spot without any sort of trail away from it. So I'm looking at the disturbances. The idea of this is like a stone floor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be looking at how it's been cleaned up, whether there are any sort of like brush marks or obvious patterns to the disturbance, and around the edges to see whether like has the blood soaked in somewhere. Are there any marks of disturbance away from these pools?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the areas that there's basically nothing around the edges of them, like outside the area of them. But the areas themselves, if you sort of inspect closely the patterns and stuff like you said, it looks like a combination of sort of mopping and sponging.
You see, I'm wondering whether that might equate to, I don't know why, because I've not seen anything horrendous other than a big dog or wolf thing. I'm like, would that something licking stuff off the floor, would that account for that?
Does it look licked? Comparing it against Bonneville's long, extensive list of blood splatters, does it match his one for licked?
Okay, you rolled well. I'm going to say that it doesn't look like licking because the sponging that I've described doesn't fit that.
Right. Okay.
I just hear Bonneville under his breath going, "Not licked."
I will look just directly up. Like having looked down at the spot on the ground, I will then just look directly upwards and see whether there's sort of anything
on the ceiling.
Yeah.
One of the pools is it's open sky above the area, so no, there's not anything. John and Justin,
I'm interested in the structure of the building. And features the building the lack of the state of disrepair or the progress that's been made in the damage to it. I'm more interested in where the blood splatters are situated in relation to other things than focusing on the blood splatters themselves.
Okay, and John, what's B looking at?
My initial impulse was to do exactly what Henry was looking at, but also worse because I only rolled 1.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so Justin, Gail is looking around. You can see that there are some areas of wall that are being sort of held up by timber beams, which are presumably where deconstruction work has begun, and they're kind of preventing a full cave-in of an area. You can't massively make a connection as to the positioning of the because they do seem, like Steve asked about the positioning of the two ones that you would presume are the police officers. They aren't together, so it's not like you could say, well, that happened there. Like, you can't make out that it's like an instantaneous thing or anything like that by the fact that they, went next to each other. If you're looking at the sort of dilapidated state of it, as you head over to the area where the sort of stone floor is damaged and there is sort of mud there, you spot footprint, quite a heavy footprint of a sort of spiky fronted boot. And then you spot another footprint of a spiky fronted boot. And then you also see that next to them is a sort of circular hole in the floor, like maybe some kind of staff or walking stick. And I think we'll leave it there.
Oh, so much suspense on things discovered.
Yes.
Cool.
We'll leave it there. So first thing, thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. Let's do XP before I forget. Did you participate in the session? You all did. Have 1 XP. Well done. Did you confront any Vaesen? No. Did you identify previously unknown Vaesen? No. Were you affected by your dark secret? I don't think anybody was. You have learned things. I don't think you took risks to protect other people. You haven't developed something in your headquarters. I don't think anybody performed an extraordinary action. So it's probably 2 again, unless anybody has any.
Mossling was extraordinarily annoying.
Wow. No, that's not extraordinary for Mossling.
That's very ordinary. It would be extraordinary if Mossling wasn't annoying.
Oh, dear.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Sorry about the technical issues.
It's okay.
That was so
right,
funny.
like it was like slap bang in the middle of the session as well.
Again, it took us a few seconds to actually notice you'd frozen.
Yeah, you always have that awkward moment of like, is Johnny just building suspense? No, this is actually Johnny's gone.
You'll know I'm building suspense if I answer your question and then go, wait, no, the opposite of that. That's what happens when I build suspense.
Yeah, but that over like 30 seconds time.
You'll have to practice just staying very still. So
yeah,
next
you
time
will.
There were a few times where I thought he had frozen because he was just staying very still and quiet.
Cool.
Well,
That was fun. Was that the planned ending, Johnny, or were you thinking we'd get a bit further? Because we're always spending lots of time talking and investigating things, aren't we?
I had kind of prepared for last session to end with you arriving at the tower.
Okay. We're only one session behind then, after 2 sessions.
But it's fine. That it happens with literally any game that I run. I find is that I think I worry that I don't have enough for the first session, and then I get a third or a half of the way through what I had, and I go, it's fine. Just hoping that I don't at some point go too far the other way and go, I don't need anything, and then it all goes horribly wrong.
Always over prepare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Wednesdays, Simba Room. We're back on again next Monday, as far as I am aware currently. Saturday, 3 p.m. GMT. That's the time zone, right?
I think so.
We're still on BST. 3 p. It's
okay.
BST.
3 p.m. BST. If you need to convert to other times,
End of the
we'll
month
be
we start
playing...
converting differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's next weekend, isn't it? We'll be playing Cyborg at 3 p.m. BST this Saturday. And speaking of Cyborg,
Steve points out my character's going to have 2 HP, but also every time I fail a spell, I have a chance of taking up to 2 HP of damage. So it's my intention. I hope Matt knows this, is to cast as many spells as I can in this campaign.
So one.
I have good odds of surviving at least one spell. I think
because 6.
Yeah. Well, because I take 1d2 damage, so it's 50-50 chance. 50% of the time I'll only take 1 damage, and that will be fine.
Yeah, but then there's the extra effect that you might get a horror that appears.
That's only on there's a very low chance of that. Right. I think my net if we did the maths, if we got some maths genius to roll the probabilities, as we tend to do in the backstage Discord chat of the channel, is we work out that I can probably cast about 3 spells before I'm more likely than not to be dead.
Fantastic.
And I'm going to plan. My goal is to get 8 spells. So
I'm really looking forward to it because I've missed out on the Morkborg games. So yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, they have been fun. It's so silly.
Are there any reporters snooping around that have gotten wind of 4 murders in a small town? Apparently, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could be fun.
You haven't met them yet, though, as far as you know.
I feel like Mosling Forsmark is like this close to being an over enthusiastic reporter. So
he is a reporter. He just reports on roads.
I'm glad that someone appreciates my work.
If this murder had happened on an important national byway, there would have been so much reason.
Then I'd be useless because I'd be like, oh, this byway. Enough about this murder.
And of course, we have the current working theory from Justin himself.
Steve checked the ceilings, which is that's how you normally get them in D&D. They never check the ceilings. Dark Mantle.
We have also in the past week. I don't think we've had a stream in the past week. We have a bunch of new follows from Rossignol 500, Gleo Win, or maybe Gleo Wine, Hellstrom 89, Or Plaster, Cheeky Lima, that's great, Jack, and Crafty Sims.
Fantastic.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you to all of those people.
Also, thanks again. I'm not going to do this every week, but thanks again to Lord Malice and Utrecht43 for the character names of Sir Rupert Merriweather, Eleanor Blakely, and Inspector Bertram Bonts. If you want to suggest character names, come join us on Discord and become a patron. And that's one of many benefits that you shall receive for your
many
benefits.
Channel.
Yes, I think that's everything. Please join us on Wednesday for Simba Room. Please join us on Saturday at 3 p.m. BST for Cyborg, and join us again next Monday for more of this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.